It's time for Credit Puppet.
Thank you. Good to see you, Rusty.
Good to see you, CP.
Welcome to the 5th episode of Credit Puppet. And
wow, number 5, huh?
Number 5. Yep, go for it.
Okay, folks, we're continuing our series on credit scoring. We've done payment history, we've done amounts owed, so we're going to go to the next one, which is length of credit history, which is 15% of your credit score. This is typically why older people tend to have better scores than younger people, CP.
So less hair, more wrinkles, better credit.
That's usually the way it goes. And you know, with
you should be good.
Yeah, I do have good credit scores. And you know, with payment history and amounts owed together being 65% of your credit score, it makes it pretty easy to understand that credit history has a big factor in there too at 15%. Because if you have a good payment history and your amounts owed are good, and you've had that over a long period of time, you can see how that history is going to make a lender that's looking at you to give you a loan, they're going to see you as a good credit risk. And that's basically what credit history is making sure that you have good payment history over the course of a long time on your credit report. And that's typically why when you just get out of high school or you start college, you might not have a good credit score because you haven't had time to develop a good history. Most people's credit history, CP, starts when you're 18 years old. It can start sooner if you get a loan earlier than that, but that's usually when it starts.
So you're just a credit newbie.
Absolutely. And over time, creditors and the credit bureaus are going to have more data on an older person to have more data basically to make an informed opinion. So that's really how credit history works. When we're trying to make our credit scores better, we can manipulate a lot payment history and amounts owed. Those are things that are easy to control. It's really hard to manipulate your credit history. Your credit history is what it is, so you really don't want to spend the time paying attention to your credit history. You just remember as your life goes on. Remember, when you pay your bills good, it's going to help your credit score in the long run. It's really tough to manipulate your payment history, so don't spend a whole lot of time on that as you go forward. One point I want to stress a lot to a lot of people, though, is
what's that?
As you go through your life, make every effort to keep your accounts open as long as possible, because the accounts on your credit report, the longer they're open, the more they affect your credit report. So
that makes sense.
Let's say you get a credit card in your early 20s. Later on in life, you may get a better credit card deal, but don't close down that old credit card, because when you're 35 years old and you got your first credit card when you're 20, you have 15 years of good history on that card if you close it out for one with a better deal. So go ahead and take that new credit card with a better deal, but don't close down that old card where you have that good history on that. And then if that card has a zero balance, we talked about debt on our last episode. If you don't have any debt on that card, that's helping your credit score too. So even if you want to be debt-free, which is a great goal for everybody to have, don't close down those credit cards because they can be helping your credit score. Does that make sense, CP?
Yeah, and I've also heard, Rusty, and help me on this, that if you have one of those old credit accounts like that, if you just buy something and pay it off real quick, it shows a history and a little bit of activity, and that's good?
Absolutely, absolutely. When you have one of these credit cards, if you don't use it at all, eventually it will not affect your credit score at all because of inactivity. So typically that old credit card, go once every couple of months, go buy a tank of gas or a bag of groceries. When the bill comes in, pay it right off. You don't pay any interest, but your credit report sees the activity, so it remains active in your credit scoring model, so it'll help you in the long run. Good question,
it's like Viagra for your credit card.
Absolutely, Viagra for your credit score. Now, where do I find length of credit history on our credit reports? Again, sometimes credit reports will have a summary page. You may be able to find your credit history on that summary page. If not, you want to look at your trade lines or the separate accounts and look for the line that says date opened or open account. And then just take the year and the date today and minus that, and it'll kind of tell you how many years of history you have on that account. Pretty simple, pretty easy to find. Have you found it on your report there, CP?
Yeah, I have 1 month.
Well, we need to get some better credit history for
I
you,
know,
but we will do that.
I'm a newbie.
And that's it. That's length of credit history. CP, let's wrap up this episode.
Thanks again for coming to episode 5, and if you need more information, just come to www.creditpuppet.com. See ya!
Bye, everybody.
Bye! That's good. I'm gonna have to get
Get another
some
credit
gas.
card.
Once I get my puppet card, I'll get some gas in my credit card.